This has certainly turned into be a very, very busy week. Many of you know I don't get to see Mark very much, right? He's in New York and New Jersey and Poconos area, and I'm further down. So the last time I saw my brother, I saw him last weekend for a minute at the Meadows, but I actually sat down and spoke to him. It'd be over a year. So yesterday at the Meadows, we raced. We had a great day. Pretty exhilarating day. We put those fillies through the paces, and they both raced very good. Obviously, track record for Path of Totality's race in a grassroots stallion type setting is a little odd. Had that freak not been in there, I think we're probably winners. You know, and as one of our clients, Greg, pointed out yesterday, it's not very often that you see a horse get jumped on at the 3/4 pole, passed. We were going all we could, and we were passed fair and square, and still hang in there and fight to the wire. It shows a lot of determination and a lot of character. Path of Totality raced unbelievably good yesterday. It's hard to tell because they pan away, but if you watch her come out of the last turn, she trots the turns better yesterday than I've seen her maybe ever. But when she came out of that last turn, you could see her dig in again and come back again. And horses just don't usually do that. And I was so impressed with her. And Harness AM, I thought, should have been first or second. Raced all right to be third. It was a little muddy at that point. Not really a big deal. She raced good. So Mark stayed down. We decided we're both going to stay over. We went out to eat. Sitting there having a few drinks, watching the races. And then James gets smashed up in an accident. And to be quite truthful, I know I joked about it on Facebook this morning. I said Mark took it so hard that he couldn't bear to pay the bill. But in fairness, Mark did take it hard, because that's exactly in the exact same spot that Mark almost died. Like he knocked teeth out of his head, broke his jaw, and this is all after a couple of years after doing it once before. So it was a pretty tense 10 minutes for us. I spoke to James' girlfriend Paige. She said that James is feeling better, and then I get up this morning and had a shower and sent James a message. Said, "Geez, how are you?" And he said, "You know what? I feel pretty good today." He said, "They say my collarbone's broke. It doesn't hurt that bad, which means it's either not broke through, I guess, or it's still straight." Because I know people that have broke their collarbones, and I know Mark did a couple of times. So I'd asked him as we were leaving. I said, "It hurts, right?" Everybody I talked to said it hurts. He goes, "It is painful." James said he doesn't have any pain in it today, and he actually said he slept good. So thank God for that. We watched the race, and he hit the track hard, and then got run over by another horse. And I guess all those beatings we gave him when he was young paid off. But he's thank God he's all right. It could have been much worse. So if it's just the collarbone, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks. But again, I'm not a doctor. I believe that's what it is generally. So James is on the mend already, hopefully. And what else? As I was saying, we had a good day leading up to that yesterday. It was nice to catch up with my brother. It's not often we get to. I had a good day on the track, a good day all around, except for watching James get in an accident. Leading up to that, we had a fantastic week the night before. So most of you that are in touch with me regularly, a lot of people send me text messages. How's the horses? How's this one? How's that one? I had told everybody 2 things. I told you guys to watch my Jazz. I told you she was no joke. And somebody said, "Well, 59-1." That was a tick off the fastest mile of the night in that division for the fillies, I believe. She's no joke. And I told Jason going to the track, I said, "I'm a Lovely Lady's a powerful filly. She's untrustworthy sometimes. My Jazz is all business all the time. Straight up speed, no brakes, no nothing. Maybe I'm a Lovely Lady and Mama Knows Best could beat my Jazz. But she gets to put horses in bad spots, as she did the other night. And what I mean by that is she can leave hard like an aged horse, almost like a pacer. Leave hard enough to put horses in bad spots where they make breaks, trying to get to her, get around her. And it was just a very, very good mile. You could see, and I had said to somebody afterwards, I don't think I ever remember my Jazz being on the front ever in her life, training or racing. Certainly not racing, but I don't remember ever being on the front training either. And she was very, very, very good the other night. Obviously, an unfortunate break with Mama Knows Best, and I think maybe I'll drive Mama Knows Best Friday, and that isn't certainly not because Ronnie Wren doesn't do a great job. He does do a great job. When he came off the track, I'd asked him a little bit later, I said, so what happened with that filly? I don't know, she rolled off. And nothing against Ronnie. He's very honest and truthful, but it's hard for us to correct anything if we don't know what the problem is. So we'll train her up Monday. Anyway, I'll leave that up to Jason to figure out what we're going to do, but I don't want to see a repeat. We weren't racing for any points, but we were racing for good money the other night. I don't think we would have beat Ron Burke's filly. She looks like a legit filly, but we would have given her a tussle, I think. So Mama Knows Best is fast also. We all know that. And then I'm a Lovely Lady's a different situation. She made the break in the same place. And it's funny, I love when our clients pick up on things, right? And we talk all the time about trotters switching leads, coming in and out of turns. Some horses, like at Northfield, I trained her, she never put a step in. She raced great her first start at Northfield. Take her to a bigger track, Scioto Downs. She runs in the same place twice in the starting into a straightaway. So it was one of our other clients, Johnny, had said, it looks like she's struggling switching her leads. Exactly what I tell you guys. And she didn't struggle, she did interfere. She touched, but lots of horses do. Right? Coming in at a turn, Julian, click here, touch a boot. You see those things happen. And the frustrating part is she shouldn't have made a break. Just not last week, not this week. So our options were limited. And I got to be honest, and even the judges down here will tell you, the rule book down here, there's a lot of gray areas in the rule book. And when you try to apply a black and white thought process to something as gray as the Ohio rule book, it becomes a little murky. So what I did was I called the judges after the race. And the first thing the judge said, and I know them a little bit, they're nice people. He said, geez, that's a fast filly. He said, she just rolled off, but came a big last half. We had our last half in 57 or something. And I said, yeah, I'm a little upset now. I worked her real hard because I was angry. I worked her real hard after she made the break. And now I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to put the hobbles on this filly. That's unacceptable. I don't care how good gated you are. If you're making breaks, if I can't use you, like my Jazz, what I just told you was the reason she's so effective is because you can use her however you want. If you look at the gate the other night, she was a little tentative at the gate, and I'm looking left and I'm looking right, and I'm saying to myself, geez, I don't want to get in a bad spot with her. I don't want to land down third with like a long shot in front of me. I know the 8 horses coming out of there, one of the favorites. I know the favorite on the inside of me is going to be coming out of there. What I'd like to do is land down in behind one of the favorites and put the other favorite in a bad spot where he has to come first over and use his horse hard. That's what I want to do. So at the last second, boom, I change my mind. I cross over to the front. 8 horse, put him in a bad spot, makes a break. Horse in behind me doesn't want to remove. It's like 4 to 5. Okay. My Jazz was a little uncomfortable on the front, but as soon as I kicked the earplugs down the backstretch, she trotted as hard as she could. From the time I called on her to the time we hit the wire, and raced very, very good. So I'm a Lovely Lady. I'd said to the judges, how do I go about putting the hobbles on this filly? Because in Pennsylvania, you just put them on. Just for Me and You is wearing the hobbles on Wednesday, first time ever. You can just put them on, which makes sense. It's just this idea that you have to qualify, and you don't have to anywhere now. Not New Jersey, I don't believe. New York, I know you definitely don't have to. Really, Blue Chip's first lifetime start was the first time with their hobbles on. It just seems like one of those things. I think every jurisdiction needs to update their rule book and take out some of the things that make things unclear in that rule book. So the judges said, well, you can go, and we were going to Bowling Green with horses anyway on Monday. But now, I used her hard on Thursday. You're asking me to come back Monday, 2 hours away to Bowling Green. ship her down there, race her for the first time with hobbles on a track that probably isn't the greatest, a fair track. Then come back 4 days later after that in a sire stakes. That's a lot for a small filly. It doesn't eat the greatest. So obviously my first question to Jason the day after the race was, how did she eat? She's eating good right now. Now the judge said, well, maybe you can have a workout mile. That fell through. And then he said, you're going to have to go to Bowling Green with her. I said, okay, I got to be upfront and honest. I got to ask him one more question. How do I go to Bowling Green with her when the draw for Friday is Monday at 9 a.m.? Bowling Green races at noon. She's going to race at 1. He said, well, let me look into that. I'll call you right back. He calls me back and he said, here's the thing. 2 things. Well, 3 things. The first one is, has to be a charted line. I didn't know this, but apparently some of the lines aren't charted at the fairs. He said, that one is charted. 2, you have to go a flat mile. Doesn't matter the speed, which makes no sense to me. If you're trying to see if she can wear trotting hobbles, it should. Anyway, I'm not going to make the argument. It's done. Just need a flat line of any kind at Bowling Green with hobbles on. He said, 3, this is important, we go by last charted line here. So it doesn't matter whether you run or you trot, she has to race Friday with hobbles on. I said, so why the hell do I need a flat line then? So I'd asked them, just for a little bit more clarification, if she makes a break with hobbles on, is there any way that I won't be eligible Friday because I will be very upset? And he said, no, you're good. You're good for Friday. You're good for Friday. I think I gotta make this turn here. Exit. Stay on here? Nope, I'm good. Okay, so any flat line apparently will do as of now. Now I want 100% clarification, but they were as clear as they could be for me that she's got to go to Bowling Green Monday and put the hobbles on her. It's not ideal. It's not really something I even want to do, but at the end of the day, it needs to be done. As I said to Jason, I said, well, if I owned her myself, no one else, she'd be in Bowling Green on Monday. Case closed. It's the end of the story. That's what would happen. And I think that's what needs to happen. That's what will happen. So Monday afternoon, it's Sunday now. I'm on my way back to Northfield from the Meadows. I'm going to jog. I'm a lovely lady with the hobbles on. She jogged yesterday with the hobbles on. I'm going to jog her today also. Get her comfortable in them. And she'll race tomorrow at Bowling Green with the hobbles on. So, no, it's not ideal, and I'm going to go very easy on her. But at the same time, I need to be able to race her with confidence. I need to be able to leave when I want to leave. I need to be able to move her when I want to move her. And I don't need to have to hold my breath at the quarter pole hoping she's not going to make a break. Don't need to do that. So that's the scoop with I'm a Lovely Lady. She's heading to Bowling Green with 5 other horses on Monday. Now, I see, we just sent it out yesterday. A lot of people saying, hey, where's this horse? When's this horse in? When's this horse in? The horse is going to Bowling Green. Let's see if I can get this right. Compass Rose DC and Spend That Money are going to go again. Their next Buckeye is coming up. This is a great tightener for them. I can go with both of them. The 2-year-olds that are going, Desperado can't go because that is the Colt division's on Tuesday. We can't go all the way 2 hours down the road just for the Colt division. So what we're going to do is school him Thursday at Northfield. These are all Monday horses, by the way. So we have Compass Rose DC, Spend That Money. Momo, Well and Down. 2 fillies are going to go. Well and Down just for a tightener, and Momo tighten her up real good also. And then obviously on the trotting side, Miss Meringue caught a good field again. Good for her. I'm really glad this filly's coming on. And I'm a Lovely Lady with the hobbles on. So those are 6 horses that are going to Bowling Green on Monday. I have to sneak back really, really quick. Monday, first race is Roy Hill, which is okay. I know I can make it. And then at 7 o'clock, rain's coming. So I'm going to try and miss the rain at Bowling Green and miss the rain at Northfield. Wish me luck. It just dawned on me, one of the biggest tragedies of the weekend was that I lost my sunglasses. My good blue wearing glasses, they're gone forever. Thought I left them in the hotel room, but the more I think about it, I think I just left them at my ass somewhere, which is why I don't like usually buying expensive sunglasses, because I am notorious for leaving things like that behind at a table, in a hotel room, the gas station. So I still had the goldies here to do the trick. What else? We actually had a great week, didn't we? Jason and I were talking the other day in Kirby about the week we had, and this is why I like going to the fairs. One, it gives the horses confidence, but it gives me confidence too. Winning races is very important for the mind of the horse and the driver and the trainer and the owners. It is important to win races, and like I'd said to somebody the other day, we took 14,000 US out of that fair last week. It's a good program. It's helpful, and it keeps the horses tight. So going to Bowling Green, I'm excited to go to Bowling Green. It sounds stupid. I'm sitting with I was sitting with Matt Kikali, George Brennan, and Mark yesterday, and they're like, "Yeah, I got a double on Monday. I got to do Poconos, Yonkers." George's like, "I don't know if I'm gonna go to Poconos. Got Yonkers." Matt's like, "Whatever." I don't know where Matt was driving. I'm like, "Yeah, I got a double too." Got Bowling Green and Northfield. 6 at the big BG. And 1 at Northfield Park in the first. Not really equatable. So, but still, nevertheless, I do enjoy going to the fairs and racing. I do enjoy when the horses race good. So, we had a great week last week at Lake County Fair. It was good. And then we were fortunate enough to have My Jazz race well on a night that looked like it was going to start out great, right? My Jazz raced good. GW Chrome raced good too. For those of you who actually missed the whole race, you can see he was jammed up, finished up well. Last half, I think 58 and a bit. Last quarter in 29. Relax. Last quarter in 29. And then unfortunately we had the breaks from Mama Knows Best and I'm a Lovely Lady. So a bit of a bittersweet night there. Next night, I obviously got a little bit of butterflies in my stomach. Here's our girl, Globetrotting. She trained great on Monday. She's coming in good. I'm really excited to race her. Got the 9-hole. But she's already won out of the 9-hole, right? She left, cleared to the front, and won in 55. Great race for her. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's some speed in there, but if I get out quick, I'll make front, or I'll dump in behind somebody and get a good trip. Got going up to the gate, and she just didn't want to leave. I'm not going to make her leave. I mean, I know if Globetrotting is quiet at the gate, something's up. And I'm thinking to myself, she's not sick. I know she's not sick. I know she's strong, she's good. Now, we did chop all the toes off her 2 weeks ago. Maybe her feet are bothering a little bit. We had the testers on her 2 days before. All this is going through my head as they're about to say go. What is wrong with this filly? Why will she not go up to the gate? And it's not that she won't go up to the gate, but she doesn't want to power out of there. Usually you'd only need to let her give her head, and she just come barreling out of there like a tiger. Just about to say go, and she starts to fall off the gate. Now what? Oh well. You can't force her. If a horse doesn't want to leave and you make them leave, best case scenario, you just agitated them, cost them a lot of energy, and likely if she's not leaving hard, you're in a bad spot. Now you're at 6th. You gotta come first up. If you're really lucky, you don't get in. If you're extra lucky, you do get in with a couple of bad horses outside of you and you never get to race. Say it all the time. You gotta play the hand you're dealt. So, I take her back. I'm 10th at the quarter. You guys saw the race. 10th at the quarter. What happens? A couple of bad horses stuck on the outside. Favorites are sitting, 1-2, 1-3 from where I'm sitting. I don't know, they're 14 football fields ahead of me. I'm seeing the 2 favorites up top, a bunch of bad horses in the middle, a couple parked. And by bad horses, I mean, don't mean to, belittle somebody's horse, but they're not as good as Globetrotting, and they're not as good as the 2 that are up front. Let's just leave it at that. I almost wheeled her 3 wide down the backstretch. And I left it up to her. I started out a little bit. She kind of just cowered a little bit, which again was so unlike her. maybe her feet were bothering her. Maybe she's just having a bad night. Maybe she just didn't want to leave out of the 9-hole. Pretty smart horse. I give her the option to flip 3 deep down the backstretch. You could tell that she would have if I had asked her, but she didn't have that. Like, she wasn't going to trot right through her bridle when I moved her. I edged her out, and I could feel her jump forward, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just try and salvage what we can. I know there's a whole bunch I can beat right here. Why don't we just salvage what we can? If we're 3rd or 4th, great. We'll figure out what happened tonight afterwards. She's such a tough competitor, though, man. She's 4 wide coming out of the last turn. And I know I'm second at that point. And then the horse just in front of me runs. And I don't know why he was in a big hurry to get out of my way. Just stay there. What would be the difference if you walked? If you were in the 3 wide path and going backwards? Who cares? Just get out, stay there. So Hugh Beatty, great guy, drives a lot of horses. He tries to run forward in front of me, actually spooks her. You can see her kind of get a little spooked. She doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know what the hell he's doing. So we wait till he gets clear, and then I chirp to her and tap her on the tail. She springs forward again, ends up second, closing, trots at 55. I don't know what her last half was. I know her last quarter was 28-4, 23, but 4 wide around the last turn in the mud. And closing in now, in fairness, I say mud. There's a track record. What happens is it rains, the track gets hard. Yes, there's some grease on it and some water on it, but it was hard. I don't know. I can't imagine they gave it a variant, I guess. So Globetrotting ended up second. I was tickled pink when I come out there. Now, obviously, I'm still trying to think to myself, why the hell didn't she leave? Maybe her feet were bothering a little bit. That's the shortest her toes have been in a while. They may not have been sore to the testers, but that doesn't mean on the track that rained hard, that they weren't a little sore going behind the gate. And as I said, she's such a smart filly. She might have been giving me the heads up. Listen, dude, we're not going out of there tonight. And you as a driver, you have to be able to adapt quickly. Right before they said go, every intention in my mind was to leave 100 with her. And we had to change tactics in a blink of an eye, assess what was going on in the first turn, and try and salvage what we could. The biggest thing with the trotter especially is don't panic, right? Worst thing you want to do is put her on the run. And that's what very likely could have happened if I had forced her to leave, forced her hand, she might have run. So, very fortunate in that regard. Very, very, very pleased with my Jazz. And then to come out here to the Meadows yesterday, here's the opposite. I said to Tim, we're going on the track with Path of Totality. I said, listen, there's one scratched. Looks like there's a couple of tough ones in here. Probably best if we just take her back, right? Take her back and race her from off the pace. Hard closing 3rd or 4th. We're good to go. He said, whatever you want. Obviously, it's your horse. So right before they say go, I look left. Dave Miller's horse is hot up on the gate. Hot. The one that I was worried the most about was a 7-horse, Hannah. Raced against her last year. Decent filly. Shows leaving pretty quick. Andy's picking at her behind the gate. She's not really keeping up to the gate. And I'm fighting to keep Path of Totality back a little bit. Once they get away from me, she'll settle down and I can put her in behind. But as the gate picks up speed, so from the draw gate where everybody stands at the Meadows till the start is, I don't know, 100 meters at most. Not even 150 meters at most. So in that time frame, I went from, I'm going to try and settle her and get her in behind, to, geez, Andy's horse doesn't look like she's going to leave. Dave Miller's horse looks like it's going to explode. I know Path of Totality left like a thoroughbred in the qualifier. I might be able to put a rush on them here. So I did. I give her a head, and from where I'm sitting to the end of the engine bonnet, she went from half a length off the gate to exploding out of the gate. And I crossed over in front of Andy, put Dave in a bad spot. He run, Andy run. I look over my shoulder. They're both on the run. Too bad. I was heartbroken that they made a break. Obviously, you don't want to see, and you don't want to gloat in someone else's demise. But at the same time, this is racing, right? It's the way it goes. So Andy and Dave are on the run, partially because of me. I know I'm trying to think of who's left in the field. I know Yannick's horse is good on paper, probably the best one left. I'm like 50-1. And I don't know why, but I didn't see the quarter flat. Didn't matter anyway. I knew we were flying. 27 flat. Like a vicious quarter for a trotter over the meadows. Out of the 7-hole nonetheless. So she comes back to me. She's smart. She understands it. She's sharp too. Her ears are up. She wants to fight. And she wants to fight. So I just idle her back. You got to be careful too. You can shut this filly's air off. And now she's all wound up wanting to go. I just kind of seesawed her a little bit, with the bit in her mouth, and she come back to me. I'm surprised Yannick didn't come at the half. I'm glad he didn't come then. He might have really taken the wind out of my sails then. I think he probably knew at that point he was likely the best. Yannick's not an idiot, and very smart driver, and it's Ron Burke's horse. He knew he was sitting on a big mile with a long shot going a big half in front of him. He's probably smiling at this point. 56-3 pops up. I'm like, 29-3. She seems good, real good. We start down the backstretch. I hear somebody coming, and I start her up, and she's trotting. Like, we're going. Get to the last turn, Yannick clears me, bang, right away. I'm like, but I know, it's not like Path of Totality stopping. She's trotting all she can still, even as he goes by her. She starts to get out of gear a couple of steps in the last turn. I straighten her out. We come out of the last turn, and I'm thinking, she's on fumes. We're going to walk down the lane. I think it's Dave Pallone goes by me by half a length. His horse puts a couple of steps in. It's almost like she could sense that the horse on the outside was vulnerable. You can see her try and fight back, and the other horse had the momentum, and she eventually ran out of steam. But, man, oh man, she tried a 55 flat out of the 7-hole for a filly who's only had 1 or 2 starts this year. That's a big mile. And Stallion Series are not supposed to break track records. 55 flat is supposed to win you every Stallion Series stake. Everyone. And they seem to go pretty quick. So this year they're good fillies from last year, right? So Path of Totality raced well. Then Harness AM, I left with her. She should have been second. Kind of faltered a little bit at the wire, but at the same time, I think she's coming. She's getting better, and she's a handy horse. So 2 very, very handy fillies. 2 very, very handy fillies in Pennsylvania. Then earlier in the week, we saw Timo Houdini win. I was so impressed with his win. He's a fighter too, isn't he? He was beat twice down the lane. I watched the race like 3 times. Twice down the lane he was headed, come back on and won. Kevin has done a great job with this horse, and he just looked fantastic the other night winning. Louis-Philippe Waugh did well also. At the time, I was chuckling a little bit because James picked off Timo Houdini. There's no chuckling now, obviously, but raced well. And then Trafalgar ended up winning. Just looked like $1 million. We were offered some pretty good money for Trafalgar, and we got some steadfast clients. They got lots of faith in Trafalgar and did not want to sell, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if you guys want to race her, that's perfectly fine with me. So she's in to go Monday at Grand River Raceway. So that is pretty much it for the week. We had Globetrotting and My Jazz really put a charge into me this week. So happy for the people that own them, but so happy for the horses. Happy to see Globetrotting coming back. You guys can see she's still not 100%. She's still hitting that right hind leg, still brushing her inside knee. Those 2 things play off one another. I said to Jason, I don't think there's anything we can do to fix that right now. We're gonna continue to race her as is, try to put some more weight on her, and I think as she starts to fill out, she'll widen out off that knee, and it'll be easier to get her out of that right hind. Lots of horses interfere in the same way, so it's not a big deal. But I think, obviously, it goes without saying, if she's not interfering, you're going to see a much, much better horse. So hopefully we can put the weight on her and get her squared away real good. I think Jason's got a real good handle on what her actual injuries are that cause her problems. They're very manageable, very treatable, and I think he's got a real good handle on her now. Just a matter of putting weight on her and not hurting her. So we do have a couple of big stakes coming at the end of the year for Globetrotting, and I believe she'll be just fine. So Globetrotting I was very happy with her. A little perplexed why she didn't leave. I have probably my own ideas why. Smart filly. Probably didn't want to leave. Which is good for her, but she certainly wanted to race. So very happy with Globetrotting, very happy with My Jazz. Just confirmed what I've been telling everybody for 2 weeks. I didn't know much about the filly when she came down. Steve and James went with her mostly. Nice filly. She's tough, and she's a good horse. I'm a Lovely Lady. Her only one weakness, her kryptonite, has been that, as Johnny pointed out so wisely, switching leads coming out of the turns. Very wise and very correct. So that is the problem with her. We're going to try and rectify that tomorrow at Bowling Green by applying hobbles. Is it a perfect situation, putting hobbles on a horse and racing them 4 days after they made a break, which is also 4 days before our next stake race? Absolutely not. It is not. But human or horse, we all have to lay in the bed we made, and sometimes we got to do a little heavy lifting. So that's what I'm a Lovely Lady will be doing tomorrow. Mama knows best. Doesn't usually make breaks, so we'll call that anomalous, and we'll move on from there. Not racing tonight. Tomorrow we got Bowling Green, 6 horses there. We got Roy Hill at night. Then I drive 4.5 hours, 5 hours down the road to Indiana, Hoosier Park. In a shocker, we drew the 9 hole again with one of our horses, and that's my girl, drew 9. But unlike Globetrotting, I have a sneaky suspicion she will not be coming off the gate. She will not be going backwards off the gate. She'll be going forwards. Fast filly. Really took to Hoosier Park well her first start. And 9 hole or not, I'm really excited to race her on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have some horses here. Now, we are going to be, I believe we are going to move West 52nd to Pennsylvania. Jason entered him back in because he fitted the bottom class almost there. Drew the 7 hole again. Got to give you the bad news. Probably going to see a lot of the same. I'm not leaving with him out of the 7 hole and then racing him back 5 days later if he does get in Monday, which we'll know before the race. So that'll play a big role. If he gets in on Monday, we'll probably race him much like we did last week. Conservatively, can't help that they draw it outside, but you have to. You can't be angry at the horse or drive the horse like an idiot just because you drove the outside. In this horse's Northfield Park is a speedway, and there's no shortage of front end speed ever in any race. So we'll look at the race and make a decision at that point. But West 52nd will be coming to Tim Twaddle's barn, I believe. See how he fits there. A lot of classes for that horse, so happy to get him over to Pennsylvania. And then Rooney Blue Chip is coming to Ohio. Angie and Rob said his knees were bothering him, and they've taken a bunch of x-rays, and we're going to see when he gets here. But I think what we're probably going to do is, if he seems all right, I'm probably going to qualify him. I can't imagine he can get around Northfield Park, but Northfield's an odd place. Some horses you'd swear would never get around a half, get around it great. So I guess we'll know when we look under the hood and get him out on the track on Tuesday, and we'll go from there. So, as I was saying to everybody, we're doing the best we can. Yes, in hindsight, it looks like we made a mistake sending Rooney Blue Chip to Illinois. That happens. Not much we can do about that. Certainly wasn't Rob or Angie's fault. They did a great job with the horse and did everything they could. He's a tricky horse, so hopefully we can get him squared away. Also, who else? I forgot. Simba's racing Monday also, so that's good. We got a lot of horses racing good right now, and you see in Ontario a lot of scratches going on. I think there was a little miscommunication this week. Kevin had told me he was scratching. He said he had a bunch of sick ones and then scratched Brushcut and the Broadway filly, but not a big deal. You can't race them sick. And I think just take a look at how things are going in Ohio.